I remember a few years ago, I was travelling through London, and I'd heard on the tannoy system across the tubes that a tragedy had happened and someone had took their life. I realised quite instantly that had an effect on me inside. That made me feel really horrendous because I've been in that position, and it made me feel like, well, there's another life lost. Suicide is the biggest killer of men my age up to about 35. Suicide is something that happens lots and lots of times a day, across the country, across the globe. It's happening around you. It'll happen to someone you know, probably. Mental health, they say it's 1 in 4 experience it in any given time, but I think it's a lot more. It's just people don't seek help for it. So if you don't seek help, you don't get put on the statistics. But suicide is something that, if we talked about it more, if we were able to be open about it more, it wouldn't happen as much. But because it's another one of these stigmas, it's really difficult for people to discuss it. And I know from myself, talking about it, the experiences that I've been through with it are horrific, absolutely horrific. And the experiences that I've been told about when it comes to it are also horrific. Suicide is something that happens far too often, and I would say it's an epidemic, but the problem is I don't know how to stop it. How do you stop someone from killing themselves? Okay, there are ways. You tell them all the great things they've got in their life. You tell them that you love them. You tell them that you support them. But at the end of the day, that person has got to want to not commit suicide. That person has got to go home and be in his own or her own company and not do it when you're not there. I've heard loads and loads of stories over the years of people that have done it in various places. Trains seems to be a big one. Suicide of jumping off buildings. That sort of stuff happens a lot. But what happens the most is an overdose of medication. Now, what I find incredibly strange is I've got all this medication that I have to take daily. Lots and lots and lots of medication I have to take daily. So what do you do when you get diagnosed with bipolar? They go, right, I want you to take this, I want you to take this, and I want you to take this, I want you to take this. They pile it up and they give it to you. Now, the interesting thing is, what you're doing there is you're arming a person with a way of committing suicide, a way of ending their life. If I was to sit and take a handful of these, I would be gone. That's what I find strange. Now, there is no solution to that. What do? We stop people taking medication. Okay, more people commit suicide because medication is a very good form of just a form of healing. So what do? Well, we ensure that people are correctly diagnosed. People have got the correct help. So when you're diagnosed with something like bipolar, it may be that you're given a psychiatrist that's local to you, or you're given a counsellor, you're given a close person. Sometimes charities do it as like a mentor, but that doesn't happen that often. So you need to be in your own head and be able to decide that you're not going to do it. It's hard. It is really difficult when you're feeling the worst of the worst. It is horrific, and it is some of the scariest moments that I've ever had have been when I'm feeling that way, and it is really, really horrible. But it's important to remember that it gets better. It's important to remember that suicide is something that happens, but it doesn't need to happen to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to do more and more videos because I want you guys to understand me a bit more, and I want you to visually see me and understand that I'm able to talk to you.